So, like that part. And, this is part 2 of the video that I just did or whatever. And I don't even like doing this stuff like this, but, just to get it out my system and stuff like that. So, when the girl said, don't leave her, that's what she was saying. But, she wasn't saying her. She was like, don't leave me. That's what she was saying. She was like, don't leave me for my sister and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if what I think is wrong is that I think what the police did and stuff was wrong. And like what I'm saying is that I'm not trying to file a lawsuit. No, not that way. This ain't about no money. This ain't about no court case. This ain't about no suing somebody. This just about being mad, man, and being dead wrong. They were like, yeah, I'm supposed to be mad. I'm supposed to feel dead wrong. They're like, if that was really my wife on August 9th, 2015, and in a private moment in a hotel room, she was trying to say that she did a lot of bad stuff and don't like the way it feel. They were like, what if on August 9th, 2015, my wife was saying, what if she was basically saying she feel like she cheated on me before and after April 30th, 2004? And she didn't want to keep on being a sneaky bad person, and she wanted to, just be honest and because they were like, if the police didn't come get you on August 9th, 2015, after you said that you can't keep hitting her, I was the one that said I can't keep on, whether you call it giving you lashes, whether you call it giving you a whipping, whether you call it chastising you, whether you using a Bible or a Quran, I can't do this. I can because you're telling me to, but I don't want to do this because when I saw a girl named April, I didn't look at her and say, ooh, can't wait to get with her and hit her with a stick. Ooh, can't wait to get with her and fight her and be mean to her. No. I'm like, that's not what my relationship and with my, that's not the direction that I planned on going in. I was like, this girl seems like a girl I can marry, And they were like, what made you feel that way about her when you saw her? I don't really know. They said, honestly, as crazy as it is, it had a lot to do with witchcraft and love potions and bad stuff, honestly. Not liking bad stuff, but it's like they did bad stuff. Some of the people said when that house at 2715 Avenue E said that none of them girls really stood a chance in life when I met them. And what that means, they said that those girls had all been abused before. And that bad people had made plans of using those girls for bad reasons. When they said that a girl named Stacey Williams was already a teenage mom at the age of 14 or 15, she was pregnant in the 9th grade, and that girl April was with them. It was like, maybe it was the same April, maybe it wasn't. But that's why I felt crazy, because you don't know if it was the same April or not. You're supposed to at least think you know who it is, but when you're the type of person that tell the truth like that, you wouldn't really say you know for a fact, because if it's even 1% of a doubt that it was different people, and it do look like it was different people in the pictures, you wouldn't want to blame somebody for something that they did not do. So it'll be like, I can't really, I don't know if it was the same person or not, man. And then I don't really practice any kind of witchcraft or magic or whatever. So if it was different people in different bodies, or different people in the same body, or different souls, or different spirits, or whatever kind of crazy stuff they be talking about in these different religions, I don't really know about any of that stuff. But they were talking about like soul consciousness and mind, like all of this stuff. Like I'm not really trying to do none of this stuff like that. So it was like, what if some of the people when you went to their house had already did stuff like that? Like they had already, did that body to body conscious mind, same person, different body, or different person, same body, swapping stuff like that, and or multiple clones, I don't really know what's going on. it definitely seemed like different people been saying that their name was April and stuff like that. And people know that. They know that. And it was like, and that's what that was wrong with what happened to me. You know, that's what they were saying. They were saying, because they were like, I was never supposed to get locked up. You know, me, Brandon, the dude, according to the marriage license that they said, they were like, I wasn't never supposed, because they were like, if it was some crazy experiment of them using different girls' name, April, and playing some kind of marriage game, they were like, I was the victim the whole time because I was the victim of some kind of identity marriage experiment mess that, you know, according to the marriage license, it's a marriage. But according to whatever kind of experiment or stuff they was doing behind the scenes or behind closed doors, yeah, that was abuse to me. And they were like, the girl was trying to tell them that she was trying to tell them that I was the one being abused, me or Brandon, that me or Brandon was the one being abused. And they were like, the people in the court and them police, they didn't want to do that. They were like, they had some other kind of evil agenda they was trying to do. They wanted me to look like a bad person. Because they were like, you notice in the police report, it's just something that the police said, but they were like, when did a girl ever come to court and say that I did any of that stuff? And they were like, see, that's how they know something wrong. Because they was like, if she was being abused and Brendan was really a bad person, when he was in jail August 9th, 2015, the whole year of 2015, and when he was in jail the whole year of 2016, and when he was in jail 2017, and he didn't even get out of jail until 2017 when he went to mental health court, they was like, if that boy had did something bad to that girl, she would have told while he was in jail. She would have said something while he was in jail of 2015 since August 9th. And she would have said somewhere he was in jail 2016 that whole year. And she would have said somewhere he was in jail of 2017 before he even went to a mental health court. And she definitely wouldn't have still been there saying that she was his wife at a mental health court of 2017. And she definitely wouldn't have been there saying she was his wife at a mental health court of 2018. And she definitely wouldn't have been there when he graduated from mental health court in 2019. And they was like, yeah, his story makes sense. What he's saying is the truth. That girl told him to do all of this stuff. And they were like, that's a shame. What's a shame? It's a shame that if a girl tried to actually tell the truth and said it, she was sleeping around and doing stuff and doing bad stuff that she wasn't supposed to be doing, and she wasn't trying to cheat and she wasn't trying to get away with it because, you know, whatever kind of magic or stuff they was doing, looking back on it, they was like, yeah, I actually never had sex with anybody else. And I kept telling people I was married, and now that all of them people that they said was her cousins or her sisters that was there back then growed up and then had children, and she know that. So he wasn't never really trying to leave her for somebody else. He was just trying to find out what kind of crazy mess did she have going on with her and her little sister, because he's supposed to be married to one person, not her and her sister, and it was some kind of bad energy, you know, that was making us go crazy, because the girl was with me saying, what's going on? Like, she getting some crazy. So I don't really know. It was like, maybe they said it was called projecting, and she was like, maybe they was projecting. And it was like, who is they? Them people that they said was her family. And it was like, so you would have to tell the truth about what they did. Some of them girls, like they said it was in their family, they was them type of girls that they would listen to that R. Kelly music and they would be saying they like stuff like that and it's sexy and stuff. They was the type of girls that said when a grown man was grown and was having sex with a child, they would make excuses for it. They would say, oh, but he got money. Oh, but lots of people do stuff like that. Oh, well, they dad is way older than their mom, so you know, sometimes older people like younger. They would make any excuse about it. And I was like, but no matter what kind of excuse you make, whether it's your mom, your dad, whether it's R. Kelly or anything, whether they rich or famous, he gonna always be a person that was grown while having sex with a child. A child. Having an age gap is different. Being older than somebody in years apart is different. But if you've ever been a grown person that's been having sex with a child you're going to always be a grown person that had sex with a child. Whether you peed on them, whether you peed in them, if you was grown and they was a child, you gonna always be a person that sexually abused a child. Saying that your name are Kelly or Robert or using the initial or saying that you rich or whatever, it don't change the fact that you was grown. Because they was like, if you describe their character, what do that mean? It's no different than one of them Antoine or Aldrin people that'll be a person that was grown and had full-blown sex with what is called a child. A child. You being over the age of 18 and more than the 2 years, that they said if y'all was more than 2 years apart, it's like my birth certificate said that I was born in 1984. And her birth certificate says she was born in 1986. They said in a courtroom, if you look at the calendar year and it said 1986, 1984, that's just that. They ain't finna go into all them details. They say that's 2 years apart. He said 1984, her said 1986. They said, yeah, that's legal. But all of that crazy mess with these dudes trying to have sex with these young girls gotta stop. They like, yeah, if it said 1986 for her birth certificate and his birth certificate said 1984, I don't know why anybody would have been mad at him being with her. They were like, he the age appropriate one. The dude that they said name is Brandon, the husband, according to the marriage license. And they were like, yeah, he seemed like the age appropriate one. Being 39 years old today and never had a sexual relationship with a child and never even had sex with a child, because the girl that said her name was April said he had to wait until she was 17 and he was 19. And they were like, looking back on it, they be like, when she said he had to wait till she was 17, that way she'll be able to say she was the age of consent. Since his birthday is in 1984 and her birthday is in 1986, they like, yeah, they showed that it's age appropriate and stuff like that. He wasn't no super old dude trying to get with some young girl just because she just turned 18. They were like, yeah, stuff like that seemed weird too, It's crazy like that, It was like, yeah, in them kind of situations, it's like, I don't really know. So they were like, why did you come to Georgia and stuff like that? And they were like, they were like, it was the next state over. They said, the marriage license say Alabama, and like, the birth certificate say Alabama. It was the next state over. I wasn't really trying to run, across the world and stuff like that, because I didn't travel to different places and stuff like that, and everywhere seemed like the same place. That's what I noticed. No matter what state you go to, it seemed like it's always a bus station downtown. It's always some courthouses downtown. It's always like a homeless park downtown, and it's always like, eventually like some cheap hotel downtown, to where, you can afford to stay there if you got like enough money, like, it's crazy. It was like, what's the point of going anywhere else? It like all of these different places seem to be made the same. Whoever built these cities seem to build them the same pattern. They were like, no matter what state or what place you go to, it seems like it's the same, setup. It's a hotel downtown. It's a courthouses downtown. It's a bus station downtown. It's a homeless park downtown. Sometimes they give out food and clothes and used items, and they hardly ever give away new items. But when they do, it's pretty nice or whatever. I usually don't really get none of the stuff because, I always tried to buy nice stuff, for the girl that'll be with me and for myself and stuff like that. It was like when I met the girl, she was like 16 years old, No, I was 16 years old. See, it keep getting confusing. So, to make sure I'm saying it right. When I met the girl, I was 16 years old. And they were like, oh, what happened to me growing up? And that's why, like, being sad in the picture. They said when I was 12 years old, they said that they had set me up in a car accident because the people didn't like me. The lady that said she was the mom, she told me she hated me. And they were like, she got mad at me because, for something that the other people did because the other people had sex with a child, And that stuff that they said, they was all that way. I didn't even know that. Like, I found out one by one. When the oldest dude Antoine molested me, I was like, okay, so he a bad person. He molested me doing sex stuff with a child, stuff that they call full blown sex, and they called it sex abuse because, being a child, I wasn't even old enough the age of them. Like, yeah, 5 years old is not the age of consent. And if he like at least 10 years older than you, they were like, yeah, he's a bad person. And they was like, yeah, of course I would be sad. I got treated wrong. And then they were like, yeah, then, so, like, I was in middle school in the year of 1996, and they said that Aldrin dude was the same way. I know he was physically abusive, but, they tricked me when I was a child. They was like, oh, sisters and brothers fight all the time, and if you in the house with boys, he was just being a little rough or whatever. Don't feel bad, Brandon. It was like sometimes brothers punch each other and push each other around. They was like, but when I got old, they was like, some people didn't die from that stuff, Brandon. When they say they just brothers and they be doing wrestling moves on each other and they be doing all that roughhousing, it's a lot of people that said that sometimes a dude that they said was their brother died because somebody did a wrestling move or was talking about horse playing or roughhousing. They were like, no, that's abuse. That's abuse. Don't let them trick you. And so they were like, when they did that, so when I got older, I started realizing, like, they were like, I'm not really smart. I'm stupid because, I kept getting abused because all they had to do was say, that's your family, that's your brother, that's your mama. And I would be mad and be like, but they did that stuff to me. And they would be like, but you got to love them anyway. And I would be like, as I got older, I was like, they told me that, yeah, that's called abuse. They know that you was a mental health patient since you was in elementary school. They said that you was crazy and you was stupid and that they can tell him anything. He's so full of love and kindness that he'll be ready to forgive. He'll be like they say it's crazy because if you really is that kind of person, then they wrong for using you. And they were like, that's how they kept tricking you. First, they said that the dude, Antoine Johnson, was a reverend and a pastor and that he changed his life and went to the army to be a soldier. None of that didn't really make sense because, when that child was born, they said the Aldrin Johnson dude was like 18 years old or older when Kimaya Williams was born in 1996. They're like, what do that got to do with you? That ain't none of your business. You ain't do. I'm like, well, actually, if they had him in the same house with me, all of that bad energy from that bad sex stuff and like them trying to say that's your brother, and trying to, use me, trying to say that I'm part of that family of the people that it was grown people having sex with a child and thinking about me being the same way. I'm like, see, I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that they had. That's what I'm trying to say. And they say a lot of people understand what I'm saying. If a people said that your mom was that way, your dad was that way, your brothers was that way, and you gonna be the same way, like it's almost like if people tried to say they abused you in advance because they know you was gonna be the same way, and now when you 39 years old and they looking back on it, they like, but he didn't even do none of this stuff they did. He never even had a sexual relationship because whether somebody said they was his girlfriend or liked him or had a crush, like he never even went to a girl house and did sex stuff or even attempted to have sex and stopped having sex with them. You know, stuff like that. They was like, sometime a person will go out and have sex, or sometime people will try to have sex and will stop. They were like, he didn't do none of that. The only time he ever had any kind of sex, where they said like consent or whatever, or saying yes to sex, is when a girl said her name was April. When a girl said she was using the birth certificate of April 30th, 1986, because when she said her name was April, each time she said her name was April, she was telling me that she was the same April from April 30th, 1986, the same April from April 30th, 2004, the same April that, according to my marriage license, that, being married, or the same April that, said she is my wife. And it was like, somebody lied then because, I was outside and I asked different people and they said, that's not the same girl in them pictures. And it's just wrong what they did to me. And I was like, yeah, they don't look like the same girl in them pictures. And they were like, the court know about it. Because they was like, each time you went to family court, yeah, she did say she was the same April from April 30th, 1986. She did say she was the same April, your wife. And each time you went to court, you know, the same way, like with that August 9th, 2015 Bibb County stuff and that mental health court, like that. Like after that, yeah, she did kept saying she was your wife. She did kept saying her name was April. It looked like it's different people in the picture, but they say, yeah, that's not your fault, Brandon, because it's not your fault if different people were saying that they named April and stuff like that and all of that, because it was like, yeah, somewhere between a mental health court and being a mental health patient ever since elementary school taking pills, and it's not just an excuse that you made up that something seemed wrong when that somebody else had planned something. They were like, yeah, a girl named April did not plan all of this. They were like, some kind of group would have had to been involved, a group that I don't even know about, because they was like, in order for that many people to look that way, first of all, them people had to be made. Somebody either had sex and had twins or more than one child that looked the same way, or some kind of other stuff happened, because like, yeah, some of them people do look alike and they look very similar, but somebody did something that they seemed like they weren't supposed to do. And it's like, the crazy part about it is, if it's like April 30th and your anniversary and stuff, like, why would they want you to feel bad for being married and having a wife? That don't even make sense. And it's like, when a person keep doing a bunch of stuff that don't make sense and you already a mental health patient, yeah, it would make you feel crazy. Being crazy is not a crime, but continuing to keep doing stuff to a person that's already crazy is a crime. And that's why they say it was wrong when they kept continuing that court case in August 9th, 2015. Because they were like, yeah, when you look back at this story, this is a dude that's what they said a prosecutor was supposed to say. This is a dude that has been being abused by the system his whole life. And it's really not the system's fault. It's the people that put him in the system. When a lady named Yolanda Johnson was supposed to be his mom when he was 14 years old, and they said he was in a car accident and he had been being sexually abused, and all of the people that they said was her children seemed like child molesters, because even that one that they said named Antonio Johnson, when a girl named Angela and they called her Tay Tay, and a girl named Ashley and they called her Coco, when the girl named Coco was supposed to be the little sister, and I was like, and they said Brandon is the little brother, and they tried to pair us up to do sex stuff with each other, and I was like, that girl Coco, like, she like a baby, like, you know, I can't really do stuff like that with them if they're around. And you know, that girl named Tay Tay, you know, like did stuff with me that I don't even know what it was or whatever, because you know, I wasn't really looking, you know, like I my leg was like messed up at the time, because you know, I was 12 years old. And I think I was 12 years old then, you know, because, you know, I wasn't there anymore after I was 14, because, you know, they kept sending me to those family court Department of Youth Service. They called it DYS places, the Department of Youth Services. They was like, the dude was a child. It was like, and that's all you needed to know. And it, like, it kind of happened that way for a reason. They was like, when you was 12 years old and that girl was doing that stuff, and then you found out that that punkin dude or Antonio Johnson was a child molester, because they was like, if I'm the little brother and I didn't do nothing with that girl named Coco that was the little sister, and I said she was too young, then you know that dude Antonio Johnson is a child molester, because the girl, like, he older than me. If I said she was too young to do stuff with, and they said I was the little brother, he wasn't supposed to do stuff with her neither. And they were like, you know, he did something with both of them. He did something with the girl that said her name was Tay Tay and Coco, because she was doing stuff with him first. And they said that's why they said she is the one that molested me, because she already know what sex was and what sex stuff was. And she know that I didn't know what none of this stuff. And they were like, and then, you know, she did this stuff with me while I was, you know, this was like right after the car accident. Think about it. They said I was in a car accident when I was 12. She did this stuff with me while I was 12. You know, she did it to me. the sex stuff. She sexually abused me. I don't know what she did or whatever. It's not called having sex. I don't know what it was that she did, but the stuff that they say I did with my wife, it's not the same stuff. It was like, this girl, like, got on top of me and did something to or with my thing. She grabbed my thing and did something with it. I never tried to stick my thing inside of her in any way, whether it was her front or her back or her mouth or any. I never did any of this stuff. She did something with my thing one time, and like it's like she tried to stick it somewhere, and I was like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this no more. This felt wrong. And I was like, that's how I would feel them wrong. Because they was like, and I told the girl that what they got with me, I was like, this stuff feel wrong. I was like, you notice how when you do stuff with them, it feel like a bad feeling after that. And then she was like, yeah. And she was like, she noticed it. But when she do stuff with me, it don't feel like no bad feeling. It's like, it feel like something that you have to act like you didn't do. Or it's like, if you believe in God, it feels like it makes you feel bad about God. Like, they say when they say it's your cousin, or when they say it's your sister, or it's your mom or your dad, and when they did sick stuff to you, or had tried doing sick stuff, or actually had some kind of sex with you, and you feel bad or mad about it, like, that's the difference when you married, or when it's the right person. Like, you don't feel that bad feeling when it's them. Like, whatever it's called, that feeling to where you gotta act like you didn't do it, or said, no, I didn't, or you don't really get mad. They be like, hey, Brendan, like, when, stuff like that. It's like, when you don't have to, like, be ashamed of stuff like that. So it was like, when I went to the house, it was like, them people was listening to that R. Kelly music and stuff like that. And like, them girls was like, they was going out with grown men and stuff. And they was saying they was their boyfriend. And them dudes was way older than me. And they were like, a lot of dudes know about that because, when dudes be in high school and they be wanting to talk to the girls that be their same age, a lot of them girls will go out with grown men that they never even went to school with them. Some of them men be like, the age that I am now, like almost 39 years old or 40 years old, but sometimes they'll still look kind of young for their age, because, they was like, that's why they glad that I always tell people my age, and that I'm like now I'm like 39 years old, This an old picture, but it's crazy, like, so they was like, yeah, you have to tell people, yeah, this an old picture. This picture on the screen was like, I think it was in 2015, yeah, because I was in that hotel room at Making Inn, 1044 Riverside Drive in room 221. And they were like, that's how they know he telling the truth. He don't really got nothing to hide. And that's why he don't be hiding nowhere. And they were like, so what happened then? They were like, when I went there, them people was talking about they know people from California and New York. When I seen that girl at their house, she was hanging out with some dude, it was a dude that said that he said something about, they said, this what they said, okay, because this was crazy. It was a dude, it was a girl, okay, a girl, they said a girl name was April Williams and she was 14 years old. They said she had a cousin named Stacey Williams and she was 14 years old. A dude said his name was Brian Green and he called on the phone and said, hey, Brendan, that girl that you like over here, April, she over here. And I was like, that's crazy. I'm like, she ain't never come to my house. That was when she was 14. I'm like, why would she be over there with him? And they were like, why would you feel that way? I'm like, they said that dude had sex with that girl named Stacey and got her pregnant, and that was just that, just to get her pregnant, and it wasn't never gonna be no relationship, and that he never got married to her, and that he just used her for sex and a teenage mom. Because they was like, they said she went to Insta, so everybody already knowed about that. And then the other part about it, I was like, and he said that he in a gang, and that he be having guns, and then they said that he was on drugs and snorted powder. And everybody knowed about that too. because, they said he went to the same school, Inslee High School. So I went up there and, it wasn't my business what he do in his personal life, but I was like, April, what you doing? I'm like, she was like, that's my cousin, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's what they said. They said that's your sister and your cousin, and they said her name Stacy and your name April. And I was like, I don't want to be over here at his house. I'm like, it's people that don't like him. It's people that say that they, that he is a bad person. That Brian Green dude or whatever. And then I was like, when I was there, he was saying, he kept asking me, do you want to have sex with Stacy? Do you want to have sex with Stacy? He was talking like some kind of pimp or something. I'm like, if that's your baby mama because she pregnant with your baby, why would you be asking me if I wanted to have sex with her? And he was asking me in that way, telling me that I can do it and that he wanted me to do it. And he was basically trying to get me to have sex with the girl that they said was April's sister and cousin, and the girl that was already pregnant at the time. I told the girl named April, I was like, he kept trying to get me to have sex with that Stacy girl or whatever. The girl that they said name was Stacy, she kept saying, do you be having sex with April? Have you had sex with April? I was like, you got to ask her. You got to ask her about all of that stuff. And they were like, why would you say that? I was like, I don't even know what sex is. I don't even know what they were like. How you wouldn't know what sex is? And they were like, that's why they would make me feel bad. I'm like, maybe because being a virgin and never had sex before, I wouldn't really know what sex is. And they was like, why you was telling her to ask her about if y'all had sex and stuff before? Because the girl could tell herself. So they was like, you didn't claim that you had. They was like, exactly. I didn't say that I had sex with her because I feel like I did not have sex with her, when she was 14. And so I was like, ask her and she would tell you, because like I didn't want to be talking about her sex life because I didn't even know if she had a sex life. So, it was kind of like a way of respect, They said I'm kind of different the way that I think. So it was like, like, because, they was trying to say that one of them girls that said their name was April was saying she was a virgin or something like that. So I was like, like, and it was like, yeah, he never told anybody about having sex with her. He just kept telling people he liked her, That's what they would say about me and Brandon. They were like, I was the one that kept telling people that I liked her and stuff like that. Because, that's why they told me to come over there. And when I went over there, they was like, something bad happened. They were like, wait, the dude, they said he was Brian Green or Stacy Williams' baby daddy. And they said he had a baby named Shakiria. And then his baby died, and that they might be mad because they think that that girl that said her name was Stacy, they say they think she might have did something like, they think she might have murdered her own child for some kind of sacrifice, for some kind of record deal or whatever. Some about some Nas X stuff or some dude that they said was an angel friend. Like, they kept saying that they know them rappers and that she had a baby named Shakiria, and it looked like she sacrificed her own child. And they were like, the way they would do it, that's what they said. They said they would say that the baby was pregnant and that the baby died, having the baby. So that kind of sound weird. So they would say that their child was pregnant. They said that they had a child named Shakiria, a girl named Stacy Williams, and had a child with a dude named Brian Green named Shakiria. I think her name was Shakiria Green. I don't know if her name was Shakiria Williams. They say the dad was Brian Green, so his last name was Green. The mom name was Stacy Williams, so her last name was Williams. And they had a baby named Shakiria. I think her name was Shakiria Green. I don't know if it was Williams, but this happened in Alabama. They said the way they did it, they said it when the child had a baby, because they said Shakiria got pregnant, and when she had a baby, they said they said that Shakiria died having the baby, but they said that's not really what happened. They said even though they said she died having the baby, they said they sacrificed that girl and they murdered that girl Shakiria and took the baby out of her or whatever, because I don't know why. I don't know why they did that stuff. I don't know why they did it, but and it's crazy because they say them people had did bad stuff, and they were like, "Who is the people they said did bad stuff?" When I was there at their house that day, I wasn't at that house. I went up to where his house was, and that girl. And I told that girl that they said name was April. I was like, "You shouldn't be over here. I don't want to be over here." And then they said it was a dude that they said his name was, uh named Corey, and that he be hanging with this dude named Naquan and stuff like that. And see, they was like, that's how you caught them that day. If she was already hanging out with that girl named Stacy, and he was with that dude, and she said she was having, and the girl named Stacy was supposedly had evidence that she had full blown sex with a dude named Brian Green and had a baby with him. If that girl April was with him, they said them dudes that was hanging out at their house, they said they was in some kind of frat or some kind of gang. And they said they was in the same gang and the same frat that dude Corey and Naquan was in. And they was like, oh, so that girl had already know them people that said they was in that gang and that frat before she ever became your girlfriend or your wife, right, Brandon? Yes. She already know them people. So she was hanging out with people that said they was in a frat and a gang, and it was people that was having full-blown sex to the extent of getting people pregnant. Yes, because even if she your girlfriend, your wife, or whatever, you still have to tell the truth about that, because that might have something to do with what happened on August 9th, 2015. She might have been part of a bad group or associated with bad people that was in frats and gangs, and that might be some of the stuff where she felt like she did too much and was trying to get out of. And that kind of makes sense when you look at it that way. Maybe that's the reason why she didn't want me to be getting in trouble, because she know that I wasn't really in no gang or no frat like that. Because if it was a gang and a frat where grown people was having sex or children was having sex, whether they was grown or children, and people was getting pregnant and having babies, then she know, yeah, I was just a 16-year-old boy that was a virgin, and I wasn't having sex at all, and I wasn't getting nobody pregnant, and I definitely never was in there one of them kind of gangs or frats, because I was never in a gang at all. And whatever little groups of people that be saying that they cliques or frats or whatever, yeah, I was never in one of those faux life pledge groups where people wear rings and stuff like that or whatever, like another that. Now I don't feel like I'm in no kind of frat or nothing like that. You don't see me getting no special treatment. So, all of that or whatever. So it was like, when you was there that day, what happened? They said it was some violent stuff that happened. When that girl was 14, both of them was 14. They said a girl named April was 14 and a girl named Stacey was 14. And they said they was cousins. They said it was April Williams and Stacey Williams. They said when she was hanging out with them people, she was hanging out with them people for 6 reasons, because they was like, when Stacey was hanging out with them people, she was hanging out with them for 6 reasons, because in order for her to be pregnant with a baby named Shakira, and they said Brian Green was the dad, she was hanging out with them people for having sex, getting pregnant, and having children reasons. They said, yeah, that's way different than what Brandon was doing. If Brandon was just there to meet up with April, or if Brendan, whenever he was around them people that they said was in them groups, he was just smoking cigarettes or whatever, or hanging out or whatever. He never participated in any kind of threesomes or groups. He wasn't never with other dudes for 6 reasons. But they said, yeah, when that girl that said their name was Stacy and April was there, they said if Stacey Williams was saying she was her sister and her cousin, and she was there having sex and getting pregnant with a baby, whether the girl April said she was there doing the same thing or not, even if she said she wasn't doing nothing, she was still there with a girl that was there, and the whole point of them going there was for having sex and getting pregnant and having babies. Now, the girl named April might say that she went there to have sex and wouldn't get pregnant, but that was the point of Stacy going over there. So they was like, you shouldn't have went with her if your name was April and you didn't plan on having sex or getting pregnant or having babies, because that was Stacy's reason for going over there. Because if evidence is proved after the fact, she was hanging out with them people named Brian Green and all that stuff to have sex and have babies and stuff like that. And they was like, yeah, those are facts. That's true. I wasn't mad at her because of that, because they was like, yeah, he just left and stuff like that when he was there. He didn't even want to be at the house. They was like, And when they said that dude was in the same gang and stuff, they said Corey and they was like, he didn't go. And they was like, that dude had already abused her because when I met her at school, the dude that they said name was Corey, he had stuck his hands down her skirt and in her pants and did some. She said he stuck his finger in her vagina or whatever, and then it was blood in her panties from what he did, and then it hurt and it was abusive. And that same dude, they said he was part of that same gang or that same group that Naquan dude and that Brian Green Fish dude was in. Because the dude that his name was Brian Green, for some reason they would call him Fish or Fishy. And they said he was the baby daddy of Stacey Williams, and Stacey Williams said she was the cousin of the girl named April and stuff like that. So when I was over there, they said something bad happened. They like, what happened? It was bad. When I was there, that dude named Brian Green said that he was thinking about killing a dude named Toot or some person named Toot. He said that somebody had broken his house and stole his gun, and that he know that it's the dude named Toot that did it. They said it's kind of hard to know who they was talking about because it was more than one dude that would use that name. One of the dudes, they said his name was Toot. And one of the dudes, they said his name was Toot Toot. And then, regardless of which one you was talking about, they said, well, no matter who he was talking about, all of them dudes that they was talking about, they said they was associated with a dude named Travis or Bam. It was something about a Toot in Bam or a Toot in Travis or Travis in Tutu and stuff. And they was like, it's crazy. And it was like some crazy rap music, stuff like that. And I didn't really want to be part of it. And they was like, I was making music back at the time, and I was making like little beats on the tape and stuff. And it was like them people that said they was from that side of town that said their name was like Bam or Travis or Tutu or something like that. They had came over to the house where the boys would be at, and I would just be there smoking. I wasn't never having sex with nobody when I was there. So it was like, that was the difference with them girls. When the girls came over there and was talking about they like thugs and they like gangsters and stuff, they were like, yeah, they was there for sex having reasons and they made bad choices with their sex life because they chose getting involved with people that didn't want to marry them and that just wanted to use them for sex. I was the actual good boy that was over there. I was just there to smoke. And they were like, why was I there? Because the house that I was in, the people was having sex with children. They was having sex with a child. They was trying to have sex with me. It was just the next best place to go. Yeah, those people weren't the best people when I was at that house, but I wasn't having sex with anyone, and they wasn't having sex with me when I was at that house. They was like, so if you had a choice, would you rather be at Yolanda Johnson house with them people trying to have sex with you and trying to beat you up, or would you rather have been at the house that you was at? Well, they weren't really having sex with you or whatever. I got molested one time or two when I was over there, but I told them not to do it no more, and it seemed like they kind of stopped, but they weren't really bothering me that much when I was over there, and I definitely wasn't having sex with them. And, it was girls that they brought over there and they was like, you can have sex over there. And I just still didn't do it, And it's the same story. Whenever anybody tried to seduce me or tried to get me to do stuff or whatever, it was like, they'll be like first base, second base, going all the way type stuff. Like, I really didn't kiss none of them people or do none of this stuff, whether it was first base, second base, or going all the way. So they were like, you just get to the point. I never really went all the way with I ain't had sex with none of them people. And so they was like, what's the bad stuff that happened? They was like, it's them girls, they tried to act like they was gangsters. When a girl was saying that she was the baby mama of that dude, Brian Green, and when he was up there, and they called him Fish, and when he was talking about he was going to go to war against some dude named Toot or Tutu, and they was like, them dudes being groups, whether it was Toot and Bam or Toot and Travis or Tutu or some dude named Dez or whatever, they were like, them girls shouldn't have never attached themselves to them dudes. They was too busy saying that I was weak and saying that I was a lame because I didn't have a gun and I wasn't in a group and I was never talking about doing violent stuff to people. They was talking about they need a thug or a real man and stuff. And then they went over there with them dudes and they was like, they were like, they got in trouble for that because they was like, when that dude was talking about he was gonna kill when he was talking about killing like them other dudes and stuff, they were like they was gang banging against each other, and they know I wasn't in no gang, and they were like, yeah, that's kind of hard to do. If your baby daddy said he in a gang and a gangster and trying to gang bang against the other neighborhood, you shouldn't have been. You probably shouldn't be claiming. They was like the girl named April shouldn't have been saying that's her cousin, and she shouldn't have been over there because if she not a gangster and she not in that gang, and if she not the one that had sex with them, just because a girl said her name Stacey Williams and had sex with and a child with a dude that they said name was Brian Green, and he said he was in a gang, and he said he was gonna go to war against a dude named Toot or Tutu or Bam or something like that. It was like the girl named April wasn't supposed to be there because when they go to war against each other, it's like, why would you be trying to go to war for a dude that you never even had sex with just because somebody that say they your cousin had a baby with somebody? And that's that stuff I be talking about. I don't want to get in trouble for the sex that they had. And they was like, well, that's what that girl April could have said when you was at Brian Green, neighborhood that day when he told you to come up there, because you went at his house, of course, because you said you didn't want to go over there, and you told the girl to walk with you down the street. Yep, he did do that. And then when you seen that other house, you told her, nah, don't go over there because that's that house where that Maycorn and Corey dude was at. You never took her to places like where people would abuse her at or whatever, because you would always tell her to just be with you, And if it was different girls, then maybe them was different girls or something like that. I don't really know. So they were like, the violence didn't come from me. It's like they did something else because they were like, the first day you met that girl, somebody had abused her. Then yeah, that dude that was in the gym, his name was Corey, and they was like, I don't understand why she didn't say that because I was like, I heard her. She was like, don't talk to me, talk to him, and I was like, why she didn't tell everybody that? When the grown men came to have sex with her, why she ain't said, don't talk to me, talk to him? When Stacey asked her to go different places, why she ain't tell Stacey, don't talk to me, talk to him? Stuff like that. When they said that's your brother, or whether it's Jeremy, whatever, if a girl can say, don't talk to me, talk to him, why she ain't tell everybody that? When it was a police officer or somebody trying to accuse me of being bad or abusing her, why she ain't said, don't talk to me, talk to him? Stuff like that. Because you either able to say, don't talk to me, talk to him, or you don't. And that's what they said. Now, that's one thing that that lady in that house told me to do. She said, mark their words. Use their same words that they used. Something that they would understand. So when the girl know how to say, don't talk to me, talk to him, if Jamel called on the phone, couldn't she could have said, don't talk to me, talk to him? If Mark called on the phone, couldn't she could have said, don't talk to me, talk to him? If any grown person called on the phone talking about sex or her vagina and trying to have sex with her, couldn't she could have said, don't talk to me, talk to him? Or couldn't she could have just said, don't talk to me? She don't want to talk about sex. She don't want to talk, because they were like, you can't be entertaining that kind of stuff if you don't want that kind of attention, especially if you're not married, they're not your boyfriend, that they just looking at you as something to have sex with and something to use. They were like, So they were like, I didn't really do none of this stuff, like to anybody, because, it's like he was always going over there, and they were like, and see, the dudes was getting mad at me when it happened because the dudes was like, he's supposed to be our family, he's supposed to be our bro, he's supposed to be down with our clique and our crew, and he keep going over there to their house where that girl just keep ignoring him and going out with different people. They said she went out with a dude named Marvin. They said she went out with a dude named Lamar. They said she even was on the telephone going out with a dude named Corey trying to get with him, the dude that they said abused her. And they were like, that's crazy. And they was like, yeah, she said a dude named Jeremy abused her, but then she kept saying she was Jeremy's sister, acting like she was his girlfriend. Like she was doing what he told her to do. They was like, when she went on that date that they said was to Ruby Tuesday and stuff with that dude that they said name was Marvin or Lamar, they'll be using nicknames and more than one name because, he was grown and she was a child, is what they said. She was a child. And she said he tried to kiss her, or he did kiss her, and then he gave her alcohol and stuff. And then when that dude Jeremy told her to get in the house, they were like, she did what Jeremy told her to do. She ain't stay out there and say, he don't tell me what to do, Brandy. She act like he was her man or her boyfriend or her, but she was a child, So I'm not talking bad about her. It's just evidence because, whoever the same person will know, she'll know, yeah, that all of that stuff did happen. And Brandon was there. And he kept coming back. And like, oh, then they were like, why would you even go over there? But like, they kept telling me to come over there. It's like, maybe a girl was going through some, I don't really know. They said, being a nice guy, they were like, maybe she was trying to get out of that kind of lifestyle. I don't really know. Because they were like, every day after school, it would be a number on the phone. It either say Patricia Williams 7804042, area code 205, or it would say R.L. Hicks. And I don't really know that phone number. And they was like, them might have been different people, and they might have said stuff on the phone that wasn't true about April, and it was different Aprils. It was like if it was different Aprils, it was like, long story short, if it was different Aprils all this time, they might have intentionally did stuff to hate on each other to try to make you hate them, and it didn't really work because if one of them is your wife, then you just not really sure which one it is, and then you wouldn't want to blame your wife for something that somebody else did just because they was using the name April. Exactly, that kind of stuff. So they were like, yeah, somebody else made a mess. And the stupidest part about it, locking me up and putting me in jail don't change what they did. They were like, you can't fix what they did using all of them April Williams' name by trying to accuse a Brandon of a crime. It'll still show that it looked like he was different people saying that they was April. Like, you can't blame me for what somebody else did. They were like, and plus you already blamed him too many times. Folks like, yeah, this seemed wrong. They were like, he didn't went to jail too many times for it to never have been an actual victim. He ain't never hit nobody with a car, so that shouldn't have happened to him. He ain't never stabbed nobody with a knife, so that shouldn't have happened to him. He ain't never, whatever that stuff is on the side of his leg, cutting somebody open like that. So yeah, that shouldn't have happened to him, Matter of fact, I don't even think he ever pressed charges on anybody at all and ever got them locked up, so that shouldn't have happened to him. And they were like, yeah, one time they said he pressed charges on somebody, but that's crazy because it was some grown dude named Ray Ray, and he was grown. I was a child, from the time that I met him, I was like a child. And they said you was like 18 or 19 in, so you wanted to try. But they were like, no, this dude was like grown, like the whole time. Like he was like way older than me. He was like 20-something, almost 30-something years old during that time. Because they were like, when they say that dude's name was Ray Ray, like when he already grown, yeah, he was one of them grown dudes that'll be like, oh, you need to get some cigarettes or some beer from the store. Oh, he grown, he can get it for you. And they were like, yeah, you're not supposed to hang with people like that. They was like, them bad people. Them people that would use children, because when you not old enough to get cigarettes and beer from the store and they know you like to smoke, they say, yeah, them people targeted you. That was a bad group of people and you were supposed to leave that state. When them people act like they was your friends and they was getting you cigarettes and beer at the store because you was a child, them the same people that tried to, that told you to smoke weed and stuff. They was trying to make you addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff so that they could use your social security check and your money and stuff like that and have you being they drinking buddy and they drug buddy, and they wanted you to be just like them. They wanted you using and abusing females and using and abusing drugs and alcohol. They weren't getting you alcohol and drugs and marijuana and weed because they was your friend. They was doing this stuff because they wanted you to be a drug addicted, drug user and drug abuser and alcohol abuser. And they were like, they did do that because they was like, one time they said they was trying to get a record deal and they needed some money to get some crack. And I'm not naming no names, but yeah, it was people associated with that group. So, you ain't got to worry about nobody snitching or nothing, but just to state the facts, they tried making me look like a drug dealer because when they got the money to get a record deal for them, because they said they wanted a record deal, when they got the crack, they said it was like a big 8 or something. I don't know if that means an 8-ball or something. I don't know. But when they got the crack, they tried to give it to me. And was like, and I'm like, what you giving me this for? And what I mean by give it to me, they tried to give it to me to sell. And I was like, I don't want these drugs, this crack, man. I'm not a drug dealer. Stuff like that. And then looking back on it when I was old, they were like, see, they wanted you to go to jail. They wanted you to get caught with crack and go to jail because they said they give people a long time in jail, for a long time if you got caught with crack selling drugs. And they was like, it's stupid because you're not even a drug dealer. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't even make sense because they said I was going to get trust fund money when I was 19. So I never had no reason to sell drugs. And, that didn't even make sense because they said that, and then, that's why, when I was, 20, that's how, going to the apartment and leaving the city of Birmingham, moving to Warrior, Alabama. I made plans for being married. I always planned on leaving Alabama and leaving from down there. Why would you want to stay in a state where people tried to make you into a drug dealer, where people tried to abuse you, where people tried to, make you part of a sex pervert family and stuff like that? So, I don't really know. They was like, when I was down there, they was like, them people weren't your friends, Brandon. What if you would have sold them drugs and went to prison for being a drug dealer and you don't even really sell drugs, trying to impress other dudes? And that's why I said that, yeah, like I ain't want to hang with them and do none of that stuff because looking back on it, yeah, they did try to get you locked up and stuff. And then, if you was a child when you met them, why would grown people have tried to fight you? Because if they remember, it was on your 19th birthday. That dude, they said his name was Ray Ray. It was at Inslee Seafood. He tried to fight you, talking about you owed him $30 for a radio. And you was like, just let me take my girlfriend out first, and that's when you stopped celebrating birthdays because it was your birthday. And you was like, it's my birthday, man. I got a check. That's what he didn't even understand. I'm like, they was going to give me a check for my birthday, and I was going to, it's like, I'm supposed to give you the money if you ain't even letting me go cash the check because you're trying to fight a dude. Talking about somebody, where my money at? So he was like, yeah, that was crazy because you was trying to tell the dude, I'm 19 years old, back then. I was 19 years old. It was my 19th birthday. They was going to give me a check, from the trust fund. I was going to get to cash my check. I could have gave you more than $30, but the dude went crazy and started trying to fight me in the parking lot. I don't know if he was trying to impress a girl. I don't know if that girl already knowed him and just didn't tell me about it. That's what some people like to say because they say, yeah, he was also part of that group that they said was with Brian Green and stuff like. Because all of them dudes, like none of them weren't really my friend. Them dudes was already grown, and they said all of them dudes was part of a group to where somebody said I was somebody's little brother, and they had targeted me, and they had tried to set me up to be, basically the next fool. And they wanted a rap deal or a record deal, and I never wanted one. They was like, yeah, when they look back at that, they was like, that showed how it went. They said they wanted a record deal. He never said he wanted a record deal. He was just a dude making beats, and when they act like they didn't want to pay money for the beats, he just gave them the beats for free. And when it seemed like they didn't want to pay money for the beats unless he signed a contract or a record deal, he just stopped making beats because he said he didn't want no contracts or no record deal. He was just doing it for fun, making beats. He wasn't trying to get in no industry or anything like that. So they were like, yeah, whatever stuff that they did, I don't really got anything to do with it. I don't know about it. So it was like, so them girls know that because they were like, it's a girl that said her name was Stacey and a girl that said her name was April. They said they was cousins, and yeah, way before she ever even said she was my girlfriend because, she didn't even say she was my girlfriend until like way after that. Like, she wasn't my girlfriend when she was 14. She wasn't my girlfriend when she was 15. I think she became my girlfriend when she was 16 is what she said. When she was 16, she said she was my girlfriend, So if it was something that happened with some dude named TJ or Toot or Rico or Brian and stuff like that, they said since she was not my girlfriend when that stuff happened, that stuff don't got nothing to do with me. And whatever she did with them, it might have had something to do with what happened on August 9th, 2015, because I don't know. Like, maybe that was the stuff that she was saying that she did, that she didn't, when she said she did too much and like she didn't want to feel like she cheated me or something like that. And it's crazy because, I didn't really get to talk to her after that, on August 9th, 2015. Because, the police had came and they had took me to the Bibb County LEC. And when I got there, I couldn't really tell at the time what I mean, but I couldn't tell. I didn't really notice at the time. But it seemed like it was a different girl, like when they came to the visitation. Because when the girl came on the visitation screen and she was like, Brendan, why you do that stuff or whatever? I was like, what you talking about? You told me to do that stuff. And she was like, no, I didn't. And I was like, what? And then I got mad. And then I was like, oh, well, they said it's called gaslighting or brainwashing. Since I'm so crazy, I was like, well, maybe she didn't tell me to do it. But I was like, nah, looking back on it, they were like, they think that might have been a different girl. And they don't even know if that was the same girl when, you came back from, when you went to mental health court and all that. They said that could have possibly been a whole different girl that went to them visitations and that was there when you got out of